Hey folks, welcome to Weekend Wrap, going over the weekend that was. I'm Matt Doyle, MLSsoccer.com's armchair analyst, here with Nick Rosano. Nick, it was a good one, and let's start with number 3, Saturday night, Montreal hosting Philadelphia.
And this was a pretty exciting game, a lot of fireworks in this game. Montreal on the back foot for a lot of the first half. Set piece right off the training ground. Andrew Wenger scores right before halftime. And Felipe also with a great scissor kick goal to seal things off. But before that, one of the big talking points, Nelson Rivas with a vicious headbutt against Antoine Hopinot. He's sent off. Jack McInerney's sent off for retaliating. So plenty to take away from this one. We'll have to see what becomes of Rivas in the next few days.
Disciplinary committee likely to look into this one, I think.
For number 2, we're going to go all the way back to our Friday night game as Houston dominated New York at BBVA Compass.
A 2-0 win that could have been 6 or 7-0. I mean, they were generating chances left and right. One of those Mac Kanji games where you're asking, is he really great or is he really frustrating? Because he could have had 4 goals himself. He did have an assist. He terrorized New York all night. It looked like he was happy to do it. They are his old team. Houston, since Boniek Garcia's gotten there, unbeaten in 8 with 6 wins, really stamping their authority on the Eastern Conference. They're at the top of the standings now, and they look like the best team. New York, on the other hand, 2 weeks in a row, they've looked really poor on the road. They followed up a 3-1 loss to Montreal with this just dire performance. They have to figure out what's going on. They're a totally different team on the road than they are at home. And number 1 on our list, of course, Sunday night, Seattle finally drops the hammer on LA.
Oh, man. And, off to a flying start. Mauro Rosales torches Brian Gall to set up Eddie Johnson. And, from there it just gets worse. LA don't really have things going their way with a penalty call at 1-0, a non-penalty call. And then Seattle just pours it on. Freddie Montero with an excellent strike. Alex Kasky with another excellent strike. Andy Rose finishes things off late on. And it's a huge statement game from Seattle going into a very difficult week where they face Kansas City in the U.S. Open Cup and then have to travel to San Jose.
And then our top 3 performers of the week. Colorado may have lost the Rocky Mountain Cup yet again, but they did get a pound of flesh against RSL, and Joseph Nane was the man in that one. And then, of course, Kevin Hartman on Sunday, a vintage performance in Dallas's draw against Portland. And then Eddie Johnson can't stop scoring for Seattle.
Yeah, and Joseph Nane, kind of one of those out-of-left-field performances. But he looked great. He hit the crossbar twice, the second time it went in. And he, freed up a lot of space for Jeff Larentowicz to do his thing. A little more balanced there in the midfield. So he's got to be real happy with what he showed on Saturday. Kevin Hartman with 6 saves against Portland in that 1-1 draw really kept his team in the game after they went down a man. And Dallas can be pretty happy to get out of there with a point. And finally, Eddie Johnson, another great performance from him. Not only can he not stop scoring, he was active throughout the game. He helped set up 2 of the other goals for Seattle. And just, he has that confidence now, that swagger that you really need from a player like him.
People are talking about him as a dark horse MVP candidate at this point. Another guy who deserves a mention, another dark horse MVP candidate, Brad Davis was phenomenal against New York, and he's really blossomed in that 4-3-3, especially playing alongside Boniek Garcia. Now look at the standings in the Eastern Conference. Both Houston and Sporting KC leapfrogged the Red Bulls, who are now in 3rd place. DC and Chicago, meanwhile, kept pace with wins over Columbus and TFC, respectively. Montreal still in the hunt, but they don't have any games in hand. They've played 25 games, a couple more than almost anybody else in the division. In the Western Conference, RSL couldn't take advantage of San Jose's bye week, so the Quakes are still top of the table. RSL 2nd, Seattle with the win climbed 3 points clear of Vancouver in 4th and 4 points clear of LA in 5th place. Chivas USA still in the hunt out there. That'll do it for us. Don't forget to check back all week. We have the U.S. Open Cup final coming up on Wednesday and a full slate of games for the weekend.